got a few things to address.
And welcome to the Varside Spurs pubcast, coming to you today, producing a special emergency pod. And today I'm joined by Andy, Lee, and Simon. How you doing, gents?
All
very
good.
well indeed.
My birthday today, so in a good mood.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy
birthday to all from the pub. The pubcast and all the I'm sure from all the listeners. So, Lee, special birthday present. Sounds like we've got some good news to discuss.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so breaking news in the last probably hour and a half. Kane has announced that he's staying. He's been most gracious in rewarding us with his presence for another season. So. How were we feeling? How were we feeling? Well,
that's not exactly what he said, is it?
Okay, let's break it down. Let's break it down then, Simon.
So the tweet reads, for those of you that haven't seen it yet, and it was on his account at 12:45 p.m. today, August 25th. It was incredible to see the reception from the Spurs fans on Sunday and to read some of the messages of support that I've had in the last few weeks. I will be staying at Tottenham this summer and will be 100% focused on helping the team achieve success.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything, does it? I just think that summer thing doesn't actually mean anything as such.
Okay.
It doesn't say season.
Can I just quickly address that? Firstly, I was just going to say, David Brent will be very, very happy. As the Sun has called him, apparently our players think that Nuno is David Brent. What a load of old poplars. That's another non-story. As all of this been over at Kane, a number of us had said from the outset that he is staying. And yes, of course, he could have gone, but they never really looked realistic about slapping that money on the table that they should have done. And that would have got him. I mean, it would have got him if they put a world record bid in.
Do you think so? Because if we were gonna sell him, then we had to replace him.
Yeah,
but
it needed to be early enough.
It needed to be early enough, absolutely.
Yeah.
But also, I think for Levy to sell him in the situation that he was in, after the ESL and everything else, it would have been probably the last nail in his coffin, as it were.
I totally agree, Andy. And we said this a few pods back, didn't we, actually, about that situation. It would be very, very difficult for ENIC. The whole situation, the way it fell out, I think it changed the dynamic of that somewhat, because then the blame kind of fell on Harry Kane. But I think the important thing is here that he wanted to show that he wanted his man, but everybody and anybody in their reasonable mind would have said, okay, how can he not turn down 180, whatever it is, £1 million? Because it's an obscene amount of money, and every player does have their value and have their purchase price. But
I think
it would have to be. Yeah, I think he would have gone.
I think he would have gone, and I don't agree that if Levy hadn't got 150 million, if that's the asking price, we don't actually know what the asking price is, by the way, because they never came out and declared that. But if that was the asking price, they would have accepted that. They would have said, right, Kane said he wanted to go. We all know he wanted to go. It was publicised, and remember, Paratici seems to have a contingency of players that he's talking to. So I'm pretty sure, right, that even up until maybe a couple of days before the end of the transfer window, if City had said, right, that we've got the money, we're paying you, we had players lined up. We probably had players lined up to say, right, well, if Levy goes, if Kane goes, we want you to come in as a replacement, and those deals are probably lined up.
That's a key phrase there, Steve.
Do you think that's realistic?
If they had the money.
Yeah.
Do you think that's realistic, though, to have other players at other clubs being put on hold, waiting for something to happen at a particular club?
So I don't know Well, hang on a second.
That seems far-fetched.
Well, I've been to a number of these fan forums. I've seen a number of these conversations where players have asked Daniel directly about transfer windows and this and that and the other. And you can take as much of this with a pinch of salt as you like. But Daniel's always quite clearly said is that you don't, in order to make a transfer happen for someone to come in or someone to go out, there's a number of different things which have to fall into place because there's a daisy chain effect. And I've no doubt that they, on a piece of paper or on a whiteboard somewhere, for each of the positions, they've got options of who might go where and who might come where and what the mechanics of that would look like. But for those, like the game of downfall, for those things to happen, things have to line up. And if things don't line up, then we don't just buy people to keep in the stockroom. There is, the facts are is that, we are a bit of a one in, one out club, and that's what we'll do. Secondarily, I seem to have read somewhere that Levy was quite clear that if we didn't have a full season last season, we would have a hole of £150 million in our accounts, which were irrecoverable. And that's through loss of sales around the stadium. So in my mind, I've always had this thing in the back of my head that says, if it's £150 million plus add-ons for Kane, that would probably do it, because that is what will basically plug the accounts and pay back the Bank of England or whatever other liens we've got in the stadium in certain places, would fix a hole in the accounts, which is what they are interested in. And the final point...
Sorry, go on.
No, and the final point is, somebody else pointed out that, Kane being absent from training in the beginning was him, I think, likely spending his holiday or 2 weeks on holiday at Joe Lewis's resort in the Bahamas. So I've got no doubt that this got to such a critical situation where Kane was having conversations with Lewis and basically saying, okay, what are we going to do here? Because things have to click in. And it might have come to Joe saying, Harry, I just need you to see this one through, because we're not going to let you go unless the money's right. Yeah. Da, da, da. So who knows whether any of those things are true? But I know I've read.
I tend to think that is what happened. Yeah. Yeah, agree.
Just pick up on a couple of things that Simon was saying, because he mentioned about the Bank of England. That's already been taken care of, because they got a new loan, which was over something like about 15 years, which not only pays that back, and some. And so we're absolutely fine there. So if we did get the 150 million, I do think that would have gone back into the squad. And I do think that they would have to have contingency plans, because they'd be fools not to. But the hope was always there. I think that we could either persuade him to stay, or that City, as they quite obviously haven't done, never stumped up the right amount of cash. But also going back to another point that you made about picking up on summer, Simon. One at the moment, I'm thinking, well, it doesn't really matter, because it's a whole new ball game. I know it will to Sky, because all they're going to do is it's just going to shift on. Is he going to go in this winter? Is he going to go next summer?
Like it has for the last 3 years or something ridiculous.
It's always going to be the same. But next summer, Haaland's available, and Mbappe is going to be on a free, and then that changes the picture completely. So the chances are that, if we do well this season, if we do get into the Champions League, and then all of a sudden now we're in a much, much stronger position to be in the Champions League.
A more attractive prospect.
We're a more attractive prospect.
Lee, you're right, but the use of the word summer is careless at best.
Yes, but if he used the word season, that would have been careless as well. No, it wouldn't. Because then it would just be this season.
No, it wouldn't, would it, Andy? Because at least there's nothing to talk about for the media in running up to the winter transfer window. We now have a situation. But he uses the word summer, which gives plenty of leeway for Sky, TalkSport, all of these other media outlets to use that as a basis now for
maybe it's intentional, Steve. Maybe it's intentional. Maybe there is a new deal on the offing that has a clause in it this time, and if that's the case, then from the January window onwards, then there is the possibility that somebody can buy him, but they would have to. But they know what the buyout is, so so maybe it is an intentional use of that word.
But I think the point here was that he doesn't say he'll be staying at Tottenham for the season, and he doesn't just say I will be staying at Tottenham and will be 100% focused. So the word is typed, and of course we don't know whether that means that actually something is being worked out for, they'll just keep it, as you say, rocking on. Maybe it'll be 180 million in the winter. Maybe there's a new contract with a 200 million pound trigger clause in it. Who knows? But it's, as you say, it still feeds the machine, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the machine is full of fucking idiots. But, but there we are.
But it also, I mean, if you look at it in terms of the correspondence, or that's come out from him, really, all we've had is that bit about about he's staying this summer, given 100% focus. The other bit of update was brilliant battle and win or something like that. Nothing, at Sunday, and no real, in the past it's been like common Spurs and all this sort of bollocks. None of that with that tweet the other day. But then the previous one obviously was about situations and that's the lack of support from the supporters and reading the message and upsetting him, and he won't go into the details. Now all of this tells you, and we know, and even the statement today tells you that actually he wanted to leave. He wanted to go. Yeah. And
I don't think anyone's in any doubt of that.
I don't understand. So there's a lot of support and a lot of celebrations and yeah, it's great and all of that, and it is good that he's staying. But I'm not actually as whoop-de-doo as everyone else about it, because I still think that he wanted.
You never cross Steve Worrell, do you? That's the thing. You never cross Steve Worrell.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's totally it.
The thing is, though, Steven Gerrard was on the motorway ready to go to Chelsea, and that all got turned around. They're all the bloody same. They all want to leave. Rooney wanted to go to City, wanted to go across the city until some fans turned up at his house and threatened him and what have you, which was terrible.
Yeah, but Rooney had already left his boyhood club. Going from Man United to Man City ain't the same as it was that initial movement. If you're going to compare, it's that initial movement from Everton to Man United, and the jump from Everton to Man United at that point was a no-brainer, And I guess we've gone from the situation we've kind of gone to the point from the point where we were at a peak, and therefore it was it would be ridiculous for Kane to countenance leaving a couple of seasons ago, because we were head and shoulders above, for example, Man United and a lot of the other clubs, and really looked like we were going to challenge, and hence the signing the 6-year contract, for example. So in practicality term, it made sense for him to want to stay, and as we've kind of dropped off the last couple of seasons, he's wanted out straight away. Well, not straight away, but and it's clear that he wants out. And I just think this is a year. It's a year that we have with him, whether it be by virtue of a new contract with a release clause in it, or whether it be by the fact that City will, or someone will pay what's asked, because the transfer fee next season is got a year less on his contract, so the transfer fee next season will be lower. But I think it's a year that we have, and for me, he better go hell for leather to fucking win us a trophy this year. You know what I mean? Because
the thing is, Steve, will the price be lower? Because we're just seeing Mbappe being touted around for, what was it, 130 odd million from Real Madrid?
Million, apparently, yeah.
And he's got a year left on his contract. And
he's a lot younger, though.
He is a lot younger, but with Kane, you're getting the finished article, aren't you?
Yeah, but he's a lot older and less injury. Mbappe's a lot less injury prone. Probably fits the profile in terms of fitting the profile. The thing you got to remember about Kane is we think he's the best striker in the world, but his global appeal, or his global kind of this thing about in Europe and stuff like that. Mbappe has a European appeal kind of name, but it's that within those leagues and fits the profile of being put up on a pedestal as one of these players. I can't remember what they used to call the players that they used to
Galacticos.
Galactico going to Real Madrid. So that all makes sense, and that just on the basis of that, that's why his price would be 140 million. Whereas Kane is probably at the peak in terms of the price that we could ask for him now. and that will I think that will drop away. Lee.